Good morning and happy Wednesday, everybody. This is Yogalates. My name's Amanda. So for today's class, you will need a block, totally optional. We won't use any other equipment other than yourself and a nice sturdy surface like a floor, your yoga mat, and grab a nice big sip of water. Have some water nearby. Let's go ahead and start with we're going to start with the tabletop, with our wrists under our shoulders, knees under our hips. Doing a few cat-cows here. Go ahead and tuck your toes, bring your gaze up, hammocking your belly, and then flatten your toes, round your spine, gazing up towards your navel. And keep this going with your inhales and your exhales. Slow and controlled movements. Grounding through your pinky and your thumb. Let's do one more of each before coming back in. Finding your neutral spine, nice flat back. Go ahead and move your hips from side to side, warming up those hips. Maybe add some circles. And then, of course, switching the direction. Moving with your breath. Go ahead and bring your hands up, palm print forward, tuck your toes, and lift your hips up, coming into a down dog. Maybe pedal your heels, raise and lower the heels. You can alternate. And then lifting both the heels, lower the heels over to the right side, feeling that nice deep stretch all on the right side body. Lifting the heels and lowering them over to the left this time, feeling that nice deep stretch all on the left side body. Lift your heels one more time. Maybe pedal them once more. And then lowering your heels to the earth, walk your hands back towards your toes, having a deep bend in your knees. Maybe bend and extend your knees. Warming up the lower body here. And then with a deep bend in your knees, keep your left hand towards the floor or on a block. You can reach your right arm up towards the ceiling. You can have a deep bend in that right leg or straighten it. Maybe try out both options. And then switching sides, right hand down towards the floor or a block. Left arm reaches up towards the ceiling. You're welcome to look up or down. You can also bend or extend that left leg. Go ahead and come back, both hands towards the floor. Gently rolling up slowly. Once you get there, roll your shoulder blades back. And roll your shoulder blades forward. We're going to have a deep arms up overhead, swan dive forward, and walk yourself back out. We're going to come to a wide-legged child's pose. So knees are wide in your hips. Seek your hips back towards your heels. Go ahead and extend your arms out nice and long. Rest your forehead onto the floor. Maybe roll your head from side to side. Maybe tempt your fingers, lifting your palms off of the floor, still pressing your hips towards your heels, sinking your hips nice and low. Go and plant your palms back down into the earth if they had them raised. From here, we're going to add some movement. We're going to come forward into a tricep push-up, still on your knees, press down, back up, press back to a child's pose. Keeping it moving here. Your knees stay glued into the earth, pressing your hips back into a wide-legged child's pose. Bring your hips forward so your shoulders stacked over your wrists, and then lower yourself down, and then back up. Elbows stay close and toward your side. Give me one more wherever you're at. Go ahead and press on up to a tabletop position. From here, your wrists are stacked over your shoulders, knees are under your hips. We're going to go ahead and do a few bird dogs. Right hand forward, left leg back, straight left leg, flexing the toes. We're going to draw the right elbow in, left knee in, and then extend back. Keeping it going. Slow and controlled, grounding through your left palm and your right knee. Slow and controlled movement. As you draw the right elbow in, left knee up, and then extend them long in opposite directions, taking out any bend that you had previously created as you draw them together underneath your navel. Keeping it going. Left toes are flexed down towards the floor. Core remains engaged. Nice flat back. Avoid arching or rounding your spine. Keeping your core engaged. Draw your navel deep into your spine. Give me one more. Hold the right arm forward, left leg back. Tiny lifts and pulses here. Give me 7 more. That's 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Plant your right hand down. So with your left leg lifted, stretch it over to the right side by looking over your right shoulder for a nice deep stretch all along the back, left side. Go ahead and bring your gaze back down between your thumb and index finger. Still with your left foot over to the right. We're going to point the toes, lift the leg up and over, tap it to the left side, and then back and over to the right side. Drawing those beautiful rainbows, straighter left leg. Getting that leg up nice and high. Avoid opening up your left hip. Core remains engaged. Keeping it going side to side. Left leg reaches up and over, tapping both sides. Maybe you tap the floor, maybe you just come close. Avoid leaning into that right knee or that right hip. Go ahead and give me one more full rainbow. Up and over to the right, up and over to the left. Once you get there, go ahead and draw your left knee back. So we're back to our tabletop position. This time, we're going to go ahead and extend, face this way for you all. We're going to extend our right arm up towards the ceiling. We're going to reach under and through. Keep it hovering, not touching the floor, just floating. Right arm reaches up, under and through. Give me 2 more just like this. And then we're going to hold that right arm to a hover. 1 more. Go ahead and hold that right arm to a hover, reaching under the left side body. Maybe your right ear comes closer towards the earth. Still holding for 5, 3, 2, and 1. Release that right arm down. Draw your right ear closer towards the floor. From here, you're welcome to hold nice stretch. Also extending that right arm even further. You can also extend that left leg directly behind you. You can lift that right leg up, or you can draw it over to the side. Still holding, still breathing. From here, with that left leg out to the side, we're going to add on, of course. We're going to raise and lower that left leg. Tiny raise, tiny lower. Keeping it going. Straighter left leg. You still have that right hand underneath your body. Your left arm is boxed out. Your right ear down towards the floor. Give me 1 more wherever you're at, slow and controlled. And then drawing the left knee in, bringing your right hand up towards the ceiling, and then back down. From here, back to our tabletop position. We're going to add some movement here. So we're going to tuck the toes. We're going to lift to a tabletop, and then come back down to a bear. Lifting to a bear, coming back down to a tabletop. So your core is engaged, your back is flat. Drawing your navel deep into your spine. Just lifting and lowering, gently raising, gently lowering your knees. Keeping it going. Tabletop to a bear. Still going, still moving. Keeping the toes tucked, just raise and lower. So we're not coming into a down dog. You're not lifting your hips super high. Knees come to a hover. Knees back down towards the earth. Maybe they tap very gently. Maybe they continue to hover. Give me 1 more. Go ahead and release your knees back down. From here, maybe move your hips from side to side once more. All right, and now we have the other side. From here, we're going to work into our left hand and our right leg in the long and opposite directions, flexing your right toes. Draw your left elbow down, right knee up, and then extend. Full range of motion. Maybe your left elbow taps your right knee directly under your navel. Maybe it just comes super close that you can feel it. Pressing through your thumb, index, and pinky finger on your right hand. Core remains engaged. Left arm, right leg extends long opposite directions. Your right toes stay flexed. And then drawing your left elbow in, right knee up. Maybe they tap. And then extending them long. Keeping it going. Give me 3 more wherever you're at. Slow and controlled. 1 more. All right, hold the arm and leg long in opposite directions. Tiny lifts here. Take out any little bend you have in that left elbow. Any bend you might have in that right knee. Your right toes stay flexed. Tiny pulses, tiny lifts. Squeezing the base of your seat. Gaze remains down between your right thumb and index finger. Core is engaged. Give me 1 more. Go ahead and rest your left hand down. Your right foot stays lifted. From here, stretch your right leg over to the left side body, looking over your left shoulder for a nice deep stretch all along the left side. From the same position, go ahead and point your toes. Your right toe is still lined up over the right side. We have those beautiful rainbow arches. Your right leg up and over. Maybe it taps, and then back up and over. Keeping it going. Strong point through your right toes. Trying to get that right leg even straighter. Core is engaged. Keeping it going. You got this. Tiny lift, tiny lower. That right hip stays facing down. So try to avoid opening up that hip. Maybe it limits your range of motion slightly. It allows you to squeeze your outer right glute, lifting up and over. Give me 1 more. Tapping out to the side, back towards the left side, and then outside 1 more time. And then go ahead and draw that right knee in line with your left. This time we're going to take our left hand, reach it up towards the ceiling, under and through. Hover that left arm, don't rest it down. Reach it back up again. 3 more, just like this. Keep your core nice and engaged. Left arm reaches up. Left arm reaches under and through. 2 more. All right, last one. We're going to hold that left arm hovering. Extend it long. Your left ear is hovering as well. Your hips are lifted. Your core is engaged. Maybe wiggling your left fingers. That way you know that they're still lifted. A few more breaths here. Then we're going to rest that left arm and left ear. Give me 3, 2, and 1. Go ahead and extend that left arm as far as you can. Reach your left ear down towards the floor. You can also always place a block under your left ear. Keep that right arm boxed out. You're welcome to keep it here. You can also extend that right leg back, flexing the toes. You can lift the right leg up towards the ceiling, or you want to add the leg raise and lowers. Go ahead and draw the right leg out to the diagonal, out to the side. Your right arm remains boxed out. From here, let's add those raise and lowers. It's always fun to add more movement. Keeping it going, raise and lower. Still going. Few more, just like this. Moving with control. Let's do 1 more because it's so fun. And then go ahead and lower. Draw that right knee back in line with your left. Go ahead and press yourself up. Left arm up towards the ceiling. Bring it back down. Go ahead and move the hips from side to side. Let's come on up to standing. Go ahead and grab a sip of water if you would like. Let's get some movement to that lower body still. All right. Go ahead and have both of your toes facing forward, both of your feet, toes slightly inward, feet are wide in your hips, with your arms out by your side. Hinge forward at the hips, coming to a wide-legged forward fold. From here, we're going to reach our right hand to the outside of our left ankle. Left arm reaches up, and then switch. Just moving here from side to side, gaining that hip mobility, moving with control. Opposite arm to opposite outside ankle. Give me 1 more on each side. We're going to add a lateral lunge here. Lunging deeper. You can bring your hands to prayer, hands to your hips from side to side, staying low, bending deeper into that knee, extending that leg long. You're welcome to flow from side to side. You can also just hold the flow. You can point or flex your toes, challenge your balance, and then of course bring it over to the other side. Maybe point, flex the toes. Maybe you have a little more stability on one side than the other. Give me one more on each side. All right, come on up to standing. Grab your block. We're going to go ahead and come into warrior three. Left foot is forward. We're going to extend our right leg back. So your hands can be a prayer. You can have your hands by your side, pinkies in, arms out to a T, arms forward, whatever you prefer. You can also have your hand down on a block. Have a soft, tiny bend in your left leg. From here, we're going to raise and lower that right leg. So you're hinging over, hinging forward at the hips. Your right leg is straight. Your right toes are flexed. Right leg lifts, right leg lowers. Your core is engaged. You can have your hands on a block. You can have your hands at prayer, arms out to a T. You can bring your hands back or extend your arms forward, whatever you prefer. Moving with control here. Raise and lower. Keeping it going. Right leg raise, right leg lower. Whoop. If you lose your balance, no worries at all. It all happens to the best of us. Always come right back into it. We'll be right here waiting for you. Keeping it going. Right leg raised, right leg lower. Give me one more wherever you're at. All right, go ahead and come on up to standing. From here, to the block off to the side. From here, we're going to bring our arms up overhead. We have a right single leg mountain to a hip opener. So just bringing that foot forward, bringing that foot out to the side. So moving that right hip open and close. Your core is engaged, allows you to draw your right knee up even higher. Your right toes are flexed, arms up towards the ceiling, core is engaged. Grounding through your standing left foot, right leg opens, right leg closes. Keeping it going. Give me one more wherever you're at. Open and close. Go ahead and come into a forward crescent lunge, right foot forward, left foot back, both feet are facing forward. You can have a deep bend in that front knee. We're going to bring our arms up overhead, opening up the chest. We're going to hinge forward as you draw the arms back, and then reach your arms up overhead. Keeping it going here, moving with control. The ball of your back left foot is pressed into the earth. Arms reach up overhead. Arms flow back as you hinge forward at your waist. Keeping it going. Moving with control. Still going. Still moving. Keeping it going. All right. Go ahead and grab that block once more. We're going to work that right leg one more time. From here, we're going to come into half moon. So your left toes are facing forward. You can have that block down. You can have your right hand to your hip or up towards the ceiling. We're going to open up that hip. So you're stacking your shoulders, stacking your hip. Your right leg is lifted. You're welcome to hold it here, lengthening your arm, lengthening your leg, or if you'd like, add that right leg lower, and then lift. Core is engaged. Half moon, top leg raise and lower. Keeping it going. Almost there. Still going. Still moving. Almost there. Few more. Keeping that hip nice and open. Right leg raise and lower. Go ahead and come on back into it. We're going to come into warrior one feet. Left toes are facing out to the side. Right toes facing forward. We're actually going to come into warrior one. Go ahead and pivot your back right leg at 45 degrees. We're going to draw our elbows wide behind the head. We're going to come down, tapping our chest to our front left knee and then lifting up. Keep it going. Your elbows can be wide behind your head. You can also wrap your left hand under your right. Come down into humble warrior, tapping your outside left shoulder to the inside of your right knee. Moving with control. Core is engaged. Give me one more wherever you're at. Slow and controlled, moving with your breath. Go ahead and come on up to standing. Unravel your hands or bring your hands out from under your elbows. Go ahead and bring your feet wider than your hips. Arms up towards the ceiling. We're going to come from goddess pose into big star. Bending your knees down. Cactusing your elbows, coming into goddess pose. Bending your knees, sinking your hips down. I have a little bit of movement here before we come into the other side. Keeping it going. Slow and controlled. We're going to grab that block next. Don't worry. We will come down to the floor very soon. Slow and controlled. Give me one more. All right, go ahead and grab your block. This time we're going to keep our right foot forward. Our left foot is back. You can have your block a foot or two in front of your right foot. You can have your hands at prayer, arms out to a T, arms back, pinkies in, or arms forward, whatever you prefer. Your hips are staying facing down, so avoid opening up your left hip. Your left toes are flexed, straight left leg, raise and lower. Your core remains engaged. Maybe a micro bend in your standing right knee. Maybe one side is a little bit more challenging than the other. That is completely normal and totally fine. Give yourself a little bit of grace. If you get a little wobbly, slow down, focus on your breathing. Left leg raise and lower. Straighter left leg, flexing the left toes. Keeping it going. Raise and lower. We have that standing hip opener with some core work coming up next. Working into that left side, working into that left glute. Left foot taps and then raise up. Squeezing the base of your left glute. Keeping it going. Give me one more round of breath. Slow and controlled. Slower, the better. Go ahead and release it on down. Come to standing. Arms up towards the ceiling. Go ahead and ground through your standing right leg. Draw that left knee up towards the ceiling. Flex your left toes. We're going to open the hip and then draw it forward. Keeping the left toes flexed. Maybe have a micro bend in your standing right knee. Your shoulders remain stacked over your hips. Relax your shoulders down. Avoid scrunching your shoulders up towards your ears. Relax your forehead. Keep it going. Left knee opens. Left knee draws forward. Keep it going. Give me one more. All right, go ahead and release on down. Shake it out from here. Left foot forward, right foot back. Coming into our high crescent lunge. Arms reach up overhead. Ball of your back right foot is pressed into the earth. Deep bend into your front left knee. Hinge forward as you draw the arms back and up. Think about trying to tap your pinkies up towards the ceiling. You're lifting your arms higher, arms straighter. As you lift your upper body up, bringing your shoulders in line with your hips. Think about bringing your arms up overhead, biceps to ears, hinging forward, and then coming on up. Keeping it going. Moving with control. Almost there. Give me one more. Full range of motion. Really hinging forward. Arms lift up. Arms overhead. Go ahead and ground in that back right heel. Your foot's at 45. Elbows wide behind your head. From here, tapping down and then lifting back up. Core remains engaged. You can also draw the hands underneath one another, coming into humble warrior, drawing that shoulder into the inside of your front knee. Keeping it going. Core remains engaged. Navel pulled into your spine. Still going, still moving. Straight back leg. Deep bend in your front knee. Keep it going. Give me one more. Full range of motion. You got this. Come on up. All right, from here, we're going to go ahead and draw that left leg back. We have our warrior 3 into a half moon. So we're going to open up that left hip. You can keep your right hand down into the ground. You can touch the floor or bring your hand to a block to bring the earth up a little bit closer to you. The block or your hand is a foot or two in front of your right leg, depending on your height. You can draw your left arm up towards the ceiling or keep it to your hip. We're going to tap down and then lift up. Maybe have a soft bend in your standing right knee, but grounding through the sole of your right foot. Keeping that left hip open, keeping it going here. Left leg raise, left leg lower, still going. Almost there. Keep it going. Keeping that left hip open. Maybe your toes tap. Maybe they just come close. You got it. Left leg raise, left leg lower. Let's do a few more on this side. Give me one more because it's so fun. All right, release that left leg down. Set that block off to the side. Maybe grab a sip of water. Shake it out. We're going to come onto the floor next for some isolated core work. Go ahead and come onto the floor. Once you get there, you can have your feet flat on the floor. You can also raise your legs to 90. You can extend your legs straight. Wherever your feet are, palms are facing down towards the earth. Palms are out towards your toes. We're going to do some teasers. Big inhales, big exhales. Continue pumping the arms. Think about rolling your waistband back. Think about drawing your body more into a V so your knees are further away from your chest. Your chest is further down towards the floor. Keeping it going. Strong pumps of the arms. Big inhales, big exhales. Still going. Still moving. Almost there. Almost there. Give me one more. Big inhale. Big exhale. Go ahead and draw your elbows wide behind your head, still with your legs raised or raise them if you had them lifted. We're going to alternate tapping the toes. So right toes tap, left leg is lifted, left toes tap, opposite. Keeping it going. I got a little tongue tie there. As your right toes tap, your left toes are lifted, and vice versa. Keeping it going. Slow and controlled. You can also always draw your hands down behind your back, fingertips facing towards your bum. Your core is engaged. Think about drawing your navel deep into your spine down towards the earth. Still going, still moving. Whether you have your hands lifted, you can have your arms by your side, you can have your elbows wide behind your head. Give me a few more here. Let's do 2 on each side, so 4 in total. Give me 1 more each side. Beautiful work. Go ahead and roll back onto your forearms. If you're not there already, draw your legs to a tabletop. So your palms are facing up. Legs to a tabletop, knees are over your hips or further away from your chest. The closer your knees are to your chest, the easier that is. We want to keep them further away. We're going to extend the right leg. Straight right leg raise and lower. Draw the knee back over the hip. Extend the left leg. Straight leg raise and lower. Draw the knee over the hip. So alternating, extending the leg straight to a hover, strong point through your toes, raise and then lower, and then draw the knee back over the hip. Keeping it going, slow and controlled movement. Think, the slower, the better. Keeping it going. Just the leg extends, long to a hover, strong point through your toes, and then raise and lower, bending the knee back over the hip, one leg at a time. Your core is engaged. Almost there. You got it. Still going. Still moving. Keeping it going. Abs are always fun. All right, wherever you're at, give me 2 more on each side. Think slower, more controlled. Core is engaged. All right, we're down to 1 on each side. Keep it going. All right, go ahead and bring your knees into your chest. Roll on to your left side, just like we're laying at the beach. Oh, we are so good on time. All right, just like we're laying at the beach. From here, we're going to lift, straighten the legs. The straighter your legs are, the more challenging as you can, of course, box out your top right hand in front of you for more stability. The most important thing is your top right hip is stacked directly over your bottom right. We're going to lift that right leg a few inches. From here, point the toes. We have tiny circles here. It does not matter which direction. We will switch when we're halfway. Tiny circles. Your core is engaged. Drawing your navel deep in your spine. Keeping it going. You got this. Strong point through your toes. It does not matter which circle. We will switch. Keep it going. Tiny circles here. Give me a few more in this direction, and then we'll switch. All right, go ahead and switch directions. Tiny circles. This is a direction that you did not choose to begin with, so you might find that you need to slow it down just a little bit so you're not wobbly. Never compromise your form for speed. So if you're going really fast and your hips are moving forwards and backwards, just slow it down. That is okay. Focus on your breathing. Focus on extending your right leg straighter, keeping that right leg hovering. Your right toes are pointed. Your core is engaged. Your right hip stays stacked directly over your left. Tiny circles. From here, hold that leg lifted. We're going to flex and point the toes. Getting some little movement in there. You're going to feel a nice stretch in your calf as you point the toes and flex. Maybe you'll feel a nice stretch all the way up your shin towards your quad. You're going to feel a little pinch in your outer right hip if you don't already. That's okay. That's what we're looking for. Keep it going. Point and flex. Your core is engaged. Still going. Still moving. Don't let that right leg lower. Keep it hip height. Maybe peek over your right shoulder. Yes, you can see your toes. Perfect. All right, keep it going. Just pointing and flexing. Keep that core nice and engaged. Right hip stacks over the left. Hold that right toe flexed. From here, we're going to raise and lower back to our hover. Don't allow that right foot to come all the way down. That makes it too easy. You want that right leg to come back to a hover. So if you're looking over your right shoulder, you can always see your right foot. Right leg raises up and then lower. Your right toes are flexed. Your core is engaged. I know it burns. It feels so good. Such a good burn. You got this. Your core is engaged. All right, go ahead and bend that right knee. The bend feels so good. Place that right hand behind your lower left leg, so you're opening up your hip even more. Still with your top right arm boxed out. We're going to point the lower left leg. Lift that leg to a slight hover. You guessed it. Tiny circles here. Tiny circles. Again, it does not matter which direction that you're going. We will absolutely do both. Tiny circles, keeping that left leg lifted, keeping it to a hover. So your left foot is lifted. Maybe your left ankle, your left calf, your left knee. Maybe your entire left thigh is lifted. Keeping it going. You can keep your head propped up with your left hand. You can also lay all the way down just like you're relaxing at the beach. All right, go ahead and reverse that direction. Tiny circles, opposite direction of what you started. Keeping it going. Yes, you can. Making it slower, making it more uniform. Point the left toes. All right, go ahead and stop in the middle. We're going to flex and point. Oh, yes. Same thing on that lower leg, but we're working the inner thigh this time. So we're working the right side of both of our legs. Working the outer right side with that top leg when we had it lifted. Now we're working the inner right thigh of the left leg with our lower left leg. Keeping it going, just point and flex. You know what's coming. All right, hold that left foot flex. Lift and lower. Tiny lifts here. Think about pulsing that leg up at the top. So we're not actually letting that left leg lower. We're keeping it hovering. We're not letting it lower to the ground. It's always going to stay hovering. Left leg straighter. Left toes flexed. Keep it going. Give me a few more here, and then, of course, we're going to switch sides. Still going. All right, give me one more. Release it down. Go ahead and roll on over to your other side. Maybe grab a sip of water if you would like. Coming now onto your right side, stacking your hips. You're extending your legs long in opposite directions, straight left leg. Your top left hip is stacked directly over your bottom. Your core is engaged. Squeeze your glutes. From here, we're going to go ahead and lift that left leg up. Strong point through your toes. You can box out your left hand. Tiny little circles. So glancing over your left shoulder. Maybe saying hello to your left toes. Point the left toes. Your core is engaged. Keeping it going. Tiny circles. Still going. Still moving. Relax that left leg. Maybe you find that you're pushing off of it just to compromise working that outer left leg. Relax your right leg. Already did the work. The outer right leg already did the work. We'll do the inner right leg next. Tiny circles. Go ahead and flip the direction, opposite direction of what you started. So again, maybe you're a little bit more wobbly with this direction. That's okay. Just slow it down. Focus on your movements. Strong, controlled abs. Most important thing is that you're not compromising your form. So your top left hip stays directly over. If you find that you're rolling forward or that you're rolling backwards, just slow it down. Control that circle even more. Squeeze your glutes. Squeeze your inner and outer thigh on the left leg. Keep that right leg relaxed. You got it. All right, hold in the center. We're just going to flex and point. Nice stretch for those toes. Nice stretch for your calf, your quads. Keeping it going. Maybe wiggle your lower right toes. Just remind them that you're not working them just yet. Keep it going. Point and flex the left toes. All right, next one, hold it flexed. We're going to raise and lower. That top left arm remains boxed out. Core is engaged. Still going. Still moving. Almost there. Raise and lower. Keep it going. Your top left hip stays stacked over your bottom right. Your bottom leg is relaxed. We're going to bend that top leg next. Keep it going. Looking over your left shoulder, making sure that as you lower it, you can still see. If you lower your leg and your left foot disappears, don't lower it as far. Keep that resistance on. All right, go ahead and bend that left knee, placing your left foot. I know it feels so good. Nice hip opener. Place that left foot to the back side of your lower left leg, and then lift your lower right leg to a hover. Point the toes, tiny circles, keeping everything nice and symmetrical. Opening up that left hip, tiny circle, strong point through your right toes, little circles here, and then reverse the direction, tiny circles. If you find that you're wobbling, you're losing control, just slow it down. Engage your core, squeeze all your muscles, squeeze your glutes, squeeze your inner thighs as if they're pressing towards one another, even though you have your hips open. Keep it going, controlling your movements. And then reverse the direction. Oh, we already reversed it. What am I thinking? Keep the toes pointed. All right, in case you didn't have enough circles already. Just go ahead and flex and point the right toes, keeping that right leg lifted. So your gaze is down. You're looking at your right toes. Your right toe is completely off the floor. Maybe your right ankle. Maybe your right shin, your right knee, your right thigh, everything lifted. Your core is engaged. Just pointing and flexing your right toes. Next one, hold the right toes flex, straighten the right leg, lift and lift. Tiny lifts here, little pulses at the top. Keep it going, working the inner right thighs. One more time. Still going, still moving. All right, go ahead and lower that right leg down. Go ahead and roll onto your back. We're going to butterfly the legs so the soles of your feet are together. Your knees are open. You can have your feet closer in towards your bum or a little bit further out to make that diamond shape. Your hands are pressed down towards the earth next to your hips. We have a glute bridge, raise and lower, slow and controlled. Tiny movements here, so it's not as if your feet are grounded into the earth because your feet are towards one another. You're going to lessen the range of motion that your hips can raise up. Keeping your knees butterflied, core is engaged, hips raise, hips lower. Give me one more. Release your hips down. Go ahead and plant your feet hip width apart and parallel from your bum, from your glutes. From here, we're going to raise the hips up. So with your palms down by the earth, we have semicircles. Swing the right hip up to the right, lower and left hip up to the left. Moving with control, just side to side. So you're drawing your right hip up towards the ceiling, your hips lower and left hip up towards the ceiling. Keeping both hips lifted as you raise the outer hip up towards the ceiling, your core remains engaged. Still going. Give me one more on each side. And then ever so gently lower your hips down. Draw your knees into your chest. Maybe roll from side to side. And then extend your left leg long, keeping your right knee up towards your right shoulder. Maybe pulling, flex your toes, rolling out your ankles. You are welcome to keep it here, or if you'd like more of an active stretch, go ahead and tuck your chin to your chest, lifting your shoulders up. Lift your left leg up, flexing your foot, still rolling out your right ankle. And then release your head, release your left leg. With your left hand, grab the outer right side of your knee, pulling your right knee across your body over to the left and looking over your right shoulder. You're welcome to extend your right arm long. You can also cactus that arm, bringing your right ear closer towards the floor. And then coming back to the middle, switching sides. Your right leg goes long, left leg up towards your left shoulder. You can just point and flex, maybe circle out your ankles. And again, you're welcome to hold it here, or you can straighten that right leg, lift it to a hover, tuck your chin to your chest, shoulders are lifted, and then still circling out your left ankle. active stretch. Go ahead and release that right leg down. Release your shoulders down if they're lifted. With your right hand, grab the outer left knee, pull it across the right side of your body, looking over your left shoulder. Maybe cactus or extend that left arm. Keeping your left ear close in towards the floor, but not forcing it. And then coming back to the middle, drawing both knees back into your chest once more. You're welcome to grab the soles of your feet for happy baby. You can grab the back sides of your thighs or your shins. Maybe once again rolling side to side. You can also extend one leg, keeping the other leg in for a nice hip opener and inner and outer thigh stretch. And of course, switching sides, keeping everything nice and symmetrical. You can extend both legs. Wherever you're at, draw the knees back together, knees into your chest. Wrap your hands around your shins and then rock and roll yourself a few times as you come up to seated position. I said seated. To a seated position, rolling along your spine, going as many times as you need to or as little as you like. Come on up to standing with your feet wider than your hips, toes slightly turned out. Cross your right arm across your body, grabbing at your forearm. Avoid grabbing your right elbow or your right wrist. Open and switch. Left arm across your body. You move your hips from side to side. And then open and right hand behind your head, keeping your chin nice and lifted. Open and switch. Left hand behind your head. And then release your arms down. Maybe circle out your wrists in both directions. Maybe gently drawing your right ear to your right shoulder, chin to chest. Coming up, left ear, left shoulder, chin to chest. Gentle rolls, not forcing your ear to your shoulder or your chin to your chest. And then coming back through center and rolling the shoulders up and rolling the shoulders back. Nice big inhale. Let's do one more for good luck. Fantastic work, everyone. Thank you so very much. Again, this is Yogalates. My name's Amanda. It's been very nice to practice with you this morning. Have a great rest of your day. Thank you, everyone.